So I'm just gonna turn this over to the program director of the Moffat Preschool Garden Program, and yeah, take 5 to 10 minutes. Thank you.
Hi, thank you, Jane, for having me. My name is Ashley Hurst, and this is actually my first year in the Moffat Preschool Program. And it's my first year being involved in a garden program like this, but it has been so amazing, and we're so grateful for what the Seed Exchange has done for our program and is continuing to do for our program. This year, we took some time at the beginning of the year preparing the greenhouse, our shop teacher made a few updates to it to make it easier for the preschoolers specifically to learn how to plant things, what it takes to grow plants. And what has been really exciting is that we've kind of turned it into our overarching science project. So throughout the year, we've gotten to go in and help to prepare the greenhouse, but then also we started out planting radish seeds, and the shop teacher created these little boards for the kids so that they can just poke little holes in them and reach their little fingers in to plant the seeds. But what has been really exciting is getting the kids involved in it instead of just watching, instead of just saying, here's your food, eat it. Here's your greens, here's your veggies, you have to eat it because it's good for you. Getting them involved, we know in education, encourages kids to try more variety of foods. So getting them involved in the garden program has been really, really fun. So what we've planted so far this year includes radishes. We've done some lettuce, some carrots, and we've already been able to harvest, just last week actually, we went in and harvested some of our radishes and some of our lettuce, and the kids were really excited. And then we got to kind of go in and show them how to, wash out the dirt and how we, cut it up and make it into something. And even our pickiest eaters in the classroom were really excited to try something new because they had a part in it. They were there from the beginning, going back in and watering and measuring the plants, seeing how big they were growing. We've also been able to record their hypothesis on what's going to happen next. So like we planted snow peas, and they're preschoolers, so their hypothesis is the snow peas are going to be pink and green, or they're going to grow 6 feet tall. That's what you get with preschool. But it's great to be able to go back and show them, was your hypothesis correct? And why or why not? And then, talk about why do things become green when they grow out of the ground? So just planting those, metaphorical seeds as well in their minds and inspiring them to be more involved with the earth around us. Our hope, our goal, is that we'll be able to, in the future, help to provide more fruits and vegetables for the entire school. Right now we have a fig tree, and it's starting to produce very slowly. We have a grapevine coming up, and it's starting to produce again. The kids got to take out praying mantis sacks, which I don't know if you guys have ever seen those before. I hadn't, but they're very, very cool. And so taking that as an opportunity to teach them about how nature works together to create an entire ecosystem so that we can be nourished from it and nourish it back in return has been a lot of fun. So now we're just waiting for the sacks to open up, and they'll get to see all of that, get to harvest some grapes and some figs and try new things. Next year the hope is that we can keep it going through the summer and through the winter because of COVID last year. It wasn't possible to for the staff who was already there to continue it going. So like I said, we kind of had to start over a little bit with some of the things this year, but now I feel like we're on a really great track, and it's been a lot of fun, and hopefully this time next year I'll be able to come back and show you guys a lot more product that we've been able to harvest. It's really exciting. So, yeah, that's it.
Great. say thank you to Bryon for keeping the seed exchange alive and going, and giving us the opportunity and the space to share all the excitement for growing food and creating a local food economy. And thanks for your update. I'm happy to see there's new energy pushing forward on that, the school initiative for growing food. I started High Ground Gardens and marketing the seed in 2015, and it's a labor of love and a passion of mine. I love all plants, and I love seeing what happens with the plants as they adapt to our harsh high altitude, and letting them lead the way and become adapted and produce and share the food and give the food, and then share the seed with the community and the larger community outside of the valley. This is a great place to produce seed because the environment here is so harsh. So if something produces here, it generally does really well anywhere else. And I really love that. And we're in our 6th year now of serving the seed, and it's just been really fantastic to be able to do that. And we just plan to keep doing that as long as we can. We operate off of several small garden plot sites, and that's kind of a scheme that we figured out that works really well for us. We don't have a farm per se, and it lends itself to isolation and growing multiple crops of wind-pollinated or outcrossing species every year. So that's what we're doing. Does anybody have any questions?
All right, I came out a little bit late, and I don't know if you touched on this, but did you grow in greenhouses, or where did you just grow out?
We definitely utilize greenhouses and season extension. Greenhouses and hoop houses are great in the spring to get started. I like hoop houses and greenhouses. They're really solid. As far as season extension, row covers, and that kind of stuff, I don't like to do too much of that in the spring. It's super windy. I like to do a lot of season extension in the fall for brassicas and late finishing crops. But my passion is field culture. So a lot of our seed truly comes from field culture. Within reason. I start tomatoes and peppers indoors and in greenhouses and stuff, but all the field crops, it goes directly in the ground. And that's really magical. Seed is traditional technology. It's super advanced. I mean, it's alive, and it responds to its environment every year, and it records what's happening around it, and it's just real special. Any other questions? Go ahead.
Are you growing, I'm going to say microgreen seeds, but I know they're really just seeds, but I'm seeing that as a possible market for people growing seeds.
I'm glad you brought that up. A lot of people have asked me for microgreen seeds, and it's something I would like to be able to offer. I haven't gotten there yet, but with my scale,
Yeah.
that's a little bit of an issue to actually produce all that seed.
Yeah.
But I may start buying it in and reselling it possibly.
So maybe a follow-up question is, do you have like a seed cleaning machine, or are you just hand threshing, or?
I want to get a seed cleaning machine. I was told that we're not ready for that by my wife. I do everything by hand. I have seed cleaning screen sets.
Yeah.
I use box fans.
Yeah.
I use vibration, and a lot of hand
So
foot
we should
stomping.
pass the basket for you right now to get a seed cleaner.
Thank you, that's kind. I do it all by hand, and up to this point, I've really appreciated doing it by hand.
Yeah.
There's something magical about watching it all come together and just figuring it out. It's pretty easy to just figure things out with shaking and blowing and vibrating, gravity and density and incline planes, and that's kind of what I've been doing.
In terms of like adapting the seed to this climate, what is that process like? Like, do you do selective breeding, or do you just like, I don't know what that process is like at all, so I'm just curious.
The plants lead the way.
Okay.
You know, especially up here. If they're not strong enough, they don't make the cut. So that's really the where it all starts, is with the plants and how they express and produce. And then outside of that, I definitely do selections and breeding, and that's you know, I amplify seed stocks that come to the valley, but I also do selections and breeding, and we're going to start seeing more of that work. This year I've released a few things that I've been working on for a while. This year we released our first muskmelon, which I'm really excited about. It actually produces, you direct seed it in June. I've also released this year an off type of bean that came to us through our work that I'm really excited about, and a red Grex kale, which was a blend of 3 kales that we really love, and I really love the mix of them and just the variety in the population, and being able to select what you like best, whether it be leaf color, shape, texture, flavor. It's you know, it's the best of all the varieties that we loved. So that work really enthuses me. So that's where we're headed.
Do you have a favorite thing that you're growing that you're just in love with?
That's a really tough question because I love all plants. So I'm not going to try that. I mean, if you want to get more specific, I can try it.
Are you growing different quinoas?
Yes, ma'am. Quinoa is the mother grain, and I've picked up some of Ernie New's work and carried forward with that, and I've been really enthused working with them a little bit over the years, and I love quinoa.
Oh, great.
It's a high protein grain, and we definitely work with quinoa. Yeah.
Yeah, Ryan, can you elaborate a little bit about how it's working? Because you don't have a farm, so I'm trying to get a visual. You have several locations that you're going to or trying to manage, and how many of you are there of you to try to do this?
You're looking at us right now. It's I like how you said trying to manage too. Growing food and growing seed is not the only thing I do. I haven't we don't make a living from it. It's a passion. My wife calls it a hobby. But it's a juggle, you know. I have a full life. I work full time in other areas to produce our income, and it's a lot of organization pre-season, coming up with a plan, and then of course the plans always change all the time. There's losses, there's windfalls, things come up, there's irrigation issues. How I've worked with not having actual farm ground and water rights is using small garden spaces and municipal water to deal with the water law. So, does that answer your question a little bit?
So are you just basically on your own location, on your own land, or do you farm out other locations?
No, I work with homeowners,
Uh-huh.
and I cultivate relationships that work, that reciprocate both ways.
Okay.
And it's so far that's what's worked for us. You know, I haven't figured out how to get land and water, and I haven't allowed that to stop me.
Nice.
I'm not getting younger, but I found what I love to do, so I just keep doing it. So
Excellent. Very good, thank you.
So Bryon, so then to the homeowners, is that more of a trade, like you're using their land so they're putting produce and what you're growing, but that's for you to do the seed collection? I wonder where you buy your produce too.
you know, that's a very complimentary exchange, you know, growing the produce and then having that to market. I've done a lot of market gardening, and market gardening is a really tough business. and it's a lot of moving parts. I've moved towards the seed, and I've gotten away from the market gardening because it's so consuming, and I don't have a team around me to deal with that. You know, I initiated a lot of the agriculture projects at Jokery Ranch like a decade or so ago, decade plus, and at that time we had a team, and we started a farm store, and we had a lot of things going, and we really got in touch with how hard that business can be. And again, I didn't allow that to stop us, and I just kept moving forward with what worked for us. I would like to be able to produce vegetables for the community, but I haven't taken the time to figure that out again since Jokery. So it could happen. We're kind of in a space now where we're feeling more support than we ever have up to this point, and I feel like we could almost make the leap to a larger production site, and I'm just waiting for that to come in the right way where it works all the way around. That could happen anytime. So.
Okay. Do you have any sort of programs available for people who are interested in like receiving that knowledge of how to breed something? There's a big like education gap in people who want to learn how to do that. And
Yeah.
hands-on is very important work. So I'm just wondering how.
Yeah. I constantly get asked about this, and I can barely manage myself. I look forward to developing that. I do work with helpers and apprentices to some degree, but sometimes that overwhelms me too. That's how I feel right now. I'm really busy outside of the garden. I'm framing houses right now. That's where we're earning our income. And then I'm doing the gardening on the side. I have helpers, I work with people, but I wouldn't say that I have an education program. I'm a doer, I'm not so much of a teacher, but I do have a lot to share. So we're just figuring this all out as we go. You know, I'm making a living outside of the gardening business, so it kind of slows me down quite a bit. You know, how many hours are in a day, you know. That's especially in spring. There's a lot going on.
Okay, well, thank you so much. So next we have La Puente's VEGI program. Going to come up here and talk a little bit about what they're doing, and they also have a booth outside, I believe. Yeah, come on. Okay.
Hello. So my name is Katie. I'm a AmeriCorps member with La Puente, and the program I work for is called VEGI. It's the Valley Educational Gardens Initiative. So what we do is just provide education for our after-school programs. Like we work with the Boys and Girls Club in Alamosa. We work with our after-school program. It's called PALS. So we do like nutrition education, gardening education. Like during the winter, we do inside lessons like nutrition, the natural world, that kind of thing, and just a lot of fun stuff. And then spring, summer, fall, we're out in the garden doing hands-on education, using the garden as a classroom. And yeah, it's been pretty fun. We're getting back into school. For a while we weren't going into the schools because of COVID, but we're starting to do that again, which is really cool. So it's really interesting, like we heard earlier about like you wouldn't think that kids would try vegetables and things like that, and just when they're harvesting it themselves, I guess it just kind of changes things. They're not like putting it in front of them and being like, eat the vegetable. Like they just try it and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that they just tried this. So yeah. So we're doing that, and just we have a community garden in Alamosa, so we try to encourage people to come and share the work, share the harvest. Like if you come, you can bring fresh produce home, and if you come help out in the garden. So that's from May to September that we're out in the garden. So that's on Tuesday nights, 5 to 7, if any of you are from Alamosa. Awesome. So yeah, so we do have a table outside if you want to stop by. We brought some seeds that, out of the state, they have a seed library. They donated some seeds for us to bring. We have some that we saved from our gardens. So yeah, we have some programs to help support gardening in the valley. So we have a program called Garden in a Box. So we help people with garden boxes that you can put in your backyard or wherever, and we help you get soil and compost and seeds. And yeah, if you have questions, we try to help you. Like, we try to answer questions about like how to grow in the valley. And we have this nifty little planting calendar that we got a hold of. It just shows like when to start things indoors, like it's specific for the valley, and like when to, plant outdoors, when you're probably gonna be harvesting. So yeah, we got information like that. We have a fundraiser coming up in May. I think it's May 22nd. It's like we're doing some meal boxes. So you would order a meal box online, and then you would pick it up, and then the next day we have a Zoom event where we cook together, and it's kind of, we have put together some fun videos, like we did like cooking show style. So like you'd be cooking the boxes along with other people that have purchased the boxes, and we have some informational videos, some fun videos play during the event. So that's coming up. There's some flyers out there if you want more information. So I'm trying to think if I missed anything. So yeah, we're just trying to promote people being more connected to the earth, and just to experience that joy of growing your own food from seed to harvest, and having access to affordable, fresh produce. It's organic, and it can be very expensive to buy at the store, but if you grow it yourself, it's a lot cheaper. And it's really exciting to see like programs like the Food Hub in Moscow. They're selling seeds. You can buy things with your EBT SNAP if you're on SNAP. That's really cool. You can buy some food from them if you're on SNAP. So it's just neat to see. And like Charisse with the food bank, she's ordering some seeds, and people can get seeds from her. So we're just trying to make this more accessible to everybody. So that's our program.
Okay.
Is that it?
Is your program available to anybody?
It's, yeah, for anyone in the San Luis Valley, yeah. Yeah.
Do you do the CACFP dinner program in your after-school care, or have you considered that? It's like kind of like the free lunch program, but it's the dinner.
No, I haven't heard of us doing that. Right now we just do education, but I didn't come during COVID. I've only been here since August, so I don't know what we've done in the past. So yeah, I'm not sure how to answer that.
I really like what you're doing.
Yeah, we did. I heard that before COVID we were doing like potlucks every month in the garden and stuff like that. So it sounded like we did a lot more things before COVID. So, but yeah, this is all I know of because I've been here since August. But I'm glad that we're still doing programming even through COVID. Like, they made the group sizes smaller, but we still did programming. We stepped away from the school for a while, but we're back and just trying to support them. Teachers don't necessarily have the time to do the kind of programming we do, so we try to support them and keep that going. So.
Are you guys only in Alamosa schools, or are you all schools on the boat?
I think in the past we have been in other schools, but with COVID, I think we have to just stay in Alamosa. So hopefully soon we'll be going back to that. But I'm pretty sure we do summer programming with the kids, like summer camps around the valley too. So we'll see what happens this summer, I guess. So, yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much.
Hi, my name's Matt. It was interesting last year with the whole COVID thing, and it was really eye-opening because we were a retail grocery store, and there was definitely a supply line change that happened, and it definitely woke up a lot of people. So, You go for 10 straight years of the same trucks coming in all the time. What you order off the shelf is what comes in. There's no surprises like that, and within a couple months it was whatever you ordered, you didn't know if it was going to show up. Maybe half of it would show up, things like that. And at first people were pretty understanding about it. There was some panic buying. It was amazing how fast the shelves emptied out at the store, the toilet paper shelf and all that. That was kind of funny at the time, but it was a little bit scary. And, you know, it made you think, you know, what if this does stop what we're so used to? It's a real possibility. But there was a bright side that came out of that. People started cooking more from scratch. They actually started using flour, yeast, you know, milk, instead of saying like, why don't you have the par-baked bread that I always get? And so that was nice and eye-opening. What was fun is we've been doing local cows for 10 years now. And so we have some supply lines set up that other stores, you know, didn't really have, like with the mushroom farm and things like that. And what you realize is the local stuff, things that you are actually talking to the farmer, talking to the rancher, that's not going to go away like the rest of the things. Craft can shut down. You'll lose mayonnaise, things like that. You'll have to learn how to make it yourself, as long as you know people with chickens, people with cows, and ways to get grain. So it was really eye-opening for me last year just to see how people are willing to adapt. Another thing was everyone got their stimulus money, and half of them went to the hardware store to start getting things to build their garden or improve their garden. That was a huge thing. That's what I did with my little bit of spare time that I had, was actually start the garden. I grew like a $40 tomato because it was my first year really trying, but there was potential to learn and grow. So I'm actually kind of optimistic if things did kind of go south, like inevitably everything kind of does, being in the valley. We have the ability to grow grain. We have lots of space for agriculture, and especially people willing to do this. In Crestone, almost everybody has a garden. In the valley, a lot of people have gardens, and it just seems like they're really willing to adapt. Humans are super adaptable, and so food insecurity is definitely something to worry about because it can happen really quickly. I like where I live because of, you know, the availability of calling up different ranchers. If someone doesn't have something, call another guy. It's very personal like that, and I really appreciate that. So it was scary. It's a real thing. This whole network of ours can just shut down very quickly, and but still just got to be resilient and keep doing these things. Make sure you know how to grow or know someone who can. If you're not a very good gardener, make sure you know a butcher or something like that so you can work out that trade. So, any questions about? Yes.
So, from where you sit in the world, where do you see us as local people wanting to invest in the system? Where should we kind of be putting our attention?
Anytime I can get a local product, I jump on the chance. It sells faster, people love it. I bought 16 cases of oranges from a woman who drove to California, knew an orchard there, drove back all the oranges. We were able to sell them a lot faster than she was able to, you know, sell them at the kiosk or something like that. So that was kind of a nice way to do it. So I love talking to anybody who has a product, and I would definitely try it. As far as branching out and meeting people, that just kind of happens naturally, but I just love to be involved in it. So if you have any ideas, I'd love that too. Talk to Bryon when he gets his distribution going, things like that. Yeah.
Is there any local produce that, or any type of produce that you wish you could buy locally, like curly or canned?
A lot of the summer type squashes. And everybody has tons of it in their garden. It's just hard to get it into a retail store. It has to be grown in a place that is certified. Is the one big problem behind it. So once like some of that red tape disappears, and if things did go south, the red tape would be gone. So you could really like I can't get chickens because they have to drive all the way up to Greeley to have them processed. We tried it once with local Crestonian, and we were both just exhausted from the whole process. So yeah, there's some problems with getting some vegetables just because people can grow it. lettuces, things like that. There's a guy named Bob in Salida, kind of has his own hydroponic place. I get from him because he's registered. But yeah, it's more of the summery type stuff, berries, things like that. Potatoes are round the clock. Mushrooms are the exact same around the valley. Quinoa is always available in the valley store as well.
And that all would have to be registered for you to be able to have
Right, which to sign up as a wholesaler is just online and doesn't cost any money, actually. So yeah, Department of Public Health and Safety, just register yourself, and then we can sell your products. As long as there's no meat in it.
So I was told that you or maybe Elaine said that like if the trucks don't come, you only have like 3 days of food on the shelves.
If people panic buy, yeah, like what happened last time, we sold about a quarter of our inventory in 2 days. Yeah, just when, what was it, March last year? Yeah, people that had their money saved up and went and just cleared off the Kerrygold cheese, all of it into one cart. So it was interesting to see $3,000 carts come through, and yeah, it doesn't take long before the whole store empties out. So there has to be that sort of sustainability thing. And with the community, like, one thing is I can tell you how many zucchinis we go through in a week. I can tell you how many pounds of potatoes we go through in a week as a community, within that smaller community. So if we could set it up in a way where some person knows that if we're going through 40 pounds of zucchini a month, that might be an entire person's garden. And so if we can keep the rotational thing happening, you know, I can tell you the demand side of it, which is probably a more difficult side to figure out, just having the experience of being selling stuff and having a computer tell me how many pounds of bananas we sold and stuff like that. But if you know the demand, you can figure out how to get people together for supply. But diversifying gardens is another good thing, so it's always kind of producing. So I don't know, it would be one of those things where it would definitely take some time to figure out, but everyone would be pretty motivated if you couldn't get any food. So.
And so currently, you have to buy from a registered wholesaler.
Right.
And so if there were more local registered wholesalers, would you be buying as much local produce?
Yeah. Oh, anything local. I love it when someone comes in and I'm able to buy their products, because it just disappears. And then people are begging for it to come back, and then the person's like, that was my crop. But yeah, so maybe like some courses, I would love to tell anybody how to sign up for this. The website's pretty easy to work yourself through. But yeah, Department of Public Health. It's free, yeah.
Hey Matt, thanks for being here.
Hi.
This kind of goes along with her question a little bit, because you can break the Crestone rumors. Because we have the elephant cloud, we have the Mercantile food. That there was some agreement where you can only sell so much organic or local because that's there, or conventional, they can't. Is there some type of...
Oh no, we started with Kurt 12 years ago, and we agreed to just do conventional, and he just wanted to do, and he would stick to organic, and then he started carrying Coke products and Pepsi products and all that kind of stuff, and it was, I don't know what happened really, but it just became like, well, just we'll do our best as far as being a company, you know, that capitalistic thing, which I'm a terrible capitalist, but the concept of, you know, if you do your best, you'll get the customers, that kind of thing. We just kind of went on that kind of path with it. And a lot of the stuff, I mean, like, I'll tell someone, the woman who brought me the oranges, I was like, get down to Kurt's. I mean, they weren't organic, or get down to the oranges. Get down there, because if you want to sell some more product, go here. Yeah. When I talk to Cisco, it's, you know, send them down there. There's another store. You should definitely hook up with them. But no, and there's enough of a difference of customers. There's some that are just, you know, only Merc, only Elephant Cloud. Most of them are both.
Yeah.
So then it's like, I mean, there's no reason. We both carry the same potatoes from White Mountain. You know, we pretty much have around the same margins, I think. So maybe it's like they don't see it at our store, they go there, they see it there. There's no reason why we can't both do it. The community is a lot larger. We do more business than like a grocery store of its size by about 3 times, just because of the amount of people that actually live in the pocket.
Wow.
So there's plenty of commerce to go around.
That's good to know. It can be more if there is no collaboration.
Yeah, and like if there's no reason to compete, then don't. You know, like if people are definitely going to the Elephant Cloud to get microgreens, which they do, and they sell a lot of them, I just don't even touch it for that one.
Yeah.
If people ask me to carry it, I definitely.
Okay.
Cool.
Thank you so much.
Good morning. Okay, we got a question. How many of you were at the live 2020 Crestone Energy Fair?
Raise your hand.
Raise your hand. Okay. Nick's got a prize for you. Hey! And then when I intuitively guessed it, 5 of you. We have 5 stickers. So, my name's Lisa Bodey. I am the director of the Crestone Energy Fair, and Nick Nevares has been our producer. And we really want to thank Joyful Journey for doing this event. How we got involved, we came last year as well with just an information cable, but with last year's situation, we were able to host our event in the county. We had over 325 people come to a live event in September, but that took working with the Saguache County Commissioners, with Public Health, with our Sheriff's Office, with Fire and EMS. But when we really saw everyone was willing to collaborate to see how can we do a good, safe event in our situation that's very unknown. So thank you for trusting us to come in with helping with some overall planning in this event, and that we did it. We're all here. It's amazing. So I'm going to let Nick talk a little bit about this year's event.
Okay, so this year's event is August the 28th and 29th. Last year, because the town of Crestone didn't really want us to host the event in town, but we were committed to providing this type of information and this type of education to the community still. We worked with a local landowner who has a 40-acre plot and created a permanent home for the Crestone Energy Fair.
It's an entire lifestyle. It's like, how are we taking care of our bodies with our health, with our nutrition, but also movement practices. So Tai Chi's, Qigong, we've done cacao ceremonies, Amazonian breath work, so bringing in different practices, because we have a lot of international spiritual centers and other travelers that come through with a wealth of knowledge.
And it is really that wealth of knowledge that we're trying to capitalize on that's so unique to Crestone. And that's why we're so committed to this event, because it is something that most of the world doesn't have access to, especially in this way. And so having that, again, be 2 days, hopefully we'll have some fun music this time, and even more interaction with the community. But we're really looking forward to a great event this year, and hope you can come out.
Okay, thanks, Nick. So, with that, thank you everyone that's come out to our tent. We do have a tent outside. We've just been doing yesterday with the snow. We've got the little bonfire to keep you warm, hot cocos and teas and food, so come out and see us later. But with our venue, we do have work days and volunteer days. So people who are interested in really helping to build an outdoor venue, we're doing some Sundays. You can get our information and join us. We usually do a few hours of work, and then we have a few hours of networking and potluck and interact with the community that way. Our event has always been free to the community, so we're in our 32nd year. And I did take notes because I always have so much to talk about.
We'll talk about the other stuff we're doing.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So we will also, if you come out there, you can get on our newsletter, and we'll send you updates every couple of months and an email list. And then the thing where we have noticed is, why use this momentum from a 2-day event and then stop? Let's keep this work in our community going year round. So we've expanded. A small group of us from the Energy Fair, Nick and myself and Donovan, have created this Crestone Energy Exchange. So we want to really look at how are our local resources being utilized? Are they being utilized efficiently, effectively, equitably? So that we can start really collaborating in new ways and start thinking outside of the old systems, that we're creating new solutions locally. So we started a firewood program. And with that, we're doing something called dynamic pricing. The people that can afford to buy firewood, they help support the people that maybe can work trade. So then they're trading in with that equity of their work experience. And then those two can support the people who we need to give firewood to free. So we partnered with Neighbors Helping Neighbors and the emergency firewood program with the fire department. That way now, if someone calls in an emergency, Chrissy and Chris delivered this emergency load. If they're really needing it for a longer term, it goes through Mary and she vets it with Neighbors, and then we deliver a full cord to them. So we definitely need volunteers. If any of you have been in the firewood business, you don't make money in the firewood business. I'm sorry. So with that, we want to empower and educate the rest of our community to be where you can collect, where are the permits, how do you go to the Forest Service, how do you do it through the Baca Fire Department, the mitigation wood, so we can really start to empower each of us.
You know, there's so much waste when it comes to things you don't want, right? And the free box was designed to manage that waste because one person's trash is another person's treasure. And so having a place where people can bring clothes and, you know, not necessarily electronics, books, all kinds of different toys, all kinds of things that you don't need anymore, but are still good, and that someone else can repurpose and use for themselves. So, you know, with that, we're working with the landowner that the free box is on now to make it a more sustainable, community-wide endeavor that we all have responsibility for as opposed to just one person. And so we're hopeful that that will actually reopen on the 4th of July. And so that'll be another benefit to the community. We've also taken on, well, so like,
While you're on the free
there's a survey that you'll see circulated both at our booth and at different areas around Crestone. If you could take a minute, if you're in the area, to fill out one of those just so we can understand what your needs are with regards to that. We're also involved in the Dark Skies event that will be on May the 15th. The community of Crestone has been designated an official Dark Skies community, and they're having a fundraising event to demonstrate what that looks like with telescopes and things like that. And so the Energy Fair and Neighbors Helping Neighbors are going to be collaborating to manage the bar for that event. Lisa and I, or mainly Lisa, also at the end of May, are collaborating with a group to bring the first Permaculture Peace Festival to Crestone, which is, you can talk about that?
Sure. Yeah, so the Peace on Earth game and the Perma Peace Fest, it starts May 14th through May 31st. They're actually bringing a full PDC, your permaculture design course, 72-hour course into Crestone during that 2 weeks. They're bringing in different instructors and trying to set about 5 different sites. So it's that smaller version of the home garden, the home plot, to have people looking at it more from the permaculture perspective to get more local gardens in. So yeah, our event again is August 28th and 29th.
Yeah.
And yeah, thank you so much. Come out and chat with us. We'd love to sit by the fire and hang out, answer some more questions. Oh, I guess we get to answer questions now too, Jay.
Yeah.
I bet you have
Do you have any specific needs or like volunteer needs?
Yes. Okay, so when you have a small crew that starts expanding, you're playing all these roles. You're the bookkeeper, you're the grant writer, you're the PR, marketing, graphic design. It's all of it. So we really are looking for volunteers right now, especially in that area of helping with some probably grant writing. Also, we have someone probably coming out for bookkeeping, which is amazing. Possibly a new graphic designer.
We know that we have an amazing product for the community. We have an amazing, thing to offer, but we just can't keep growing with the few people that we have on the committee doing that. We really need more community involvement on a regular basis throughout the year to make that sustainable growth happen.
A volunteer coordinator right now is what I'm looking for, so that I'm not playing that double role too. So when we do work days, it's just checking people in. It's like making sure you've got what you need, and then at the event. So there's definitely some bigger roles. If you want, all of that will be outlined in our next newsletter, so you can get on our mailing list. Any other questions?
Awesome.
Lydia.
So Nick said your event at the end of May is your event, so is it part of the energy exchange, or how's it work?
Nick's just saying that because I'm doing more work. It's not my event, so I'm doing more consulting, helping on that end, and then letting them really produce their own events.
So they are utilizing our event venue that we created at Eric's.
And who is that?
Oh, Miranda and Simone are the lead organizers of the permaculture.
Is this the first event?
This is the first year.
Yes.
Okay. Do they have a name?
That's what I was saying. It's Peace on Earth game as part of the project. I'm sorry, I can't tell you who the fiscal sponsor, I don't remember right now. But then Perma Peace Fest is their name for the event.
Any other questions? Yes.
So the permaculture event, you're not sure yet if it's going to go ahead or not, right? If I understand that, it's kind of... Where would I find out?
Sure.
Your newsletter or?
The big question is right now we're just in formalities of a final commissioner vote of yes, this event, all the application and processing. So if it's not there, I'm assuming they'll downsize and something will happen.
I'm sure it'll happen.
We're
So-
adaptable in Crestone.
Yeah, our event side is so new. Our event side is so new that we're still feeling out how we interact with the neighbors, how we interact on the site itself. We're working on different ways to, ameliorate any sort of issues that could be produced long term with the use of that site. But it's all just a learning process, right? My background is in large event production, and so I kind of have a feel for how we can do that and what our overall vision is in the future. And we're just slowly getting into that mode. But it really is a wonderful space, and I really hope that you can come out and see it this year because it is absolutely fantastic out there. Any other questions? Cool. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.